Hey Titans, this is Captain Yeet here for you for one of the Teen Titans episode review. This is going to be season 5, episode 7, titled Hide and Seek. So, let's get into it. So, this episode starts off with Raven standing in the middle of nowhere next to a train station. While she's standing there, she calls up Robin, but Beast Boy answers the communicator. Robin's communicator, Beast Boy speaking. She goes, put Robin on the phone. But Robin, he's kind of handling a robot right now. So, what's up? Obviously, and throughout this whole conversation, we found out that there is a superhero group that the Brotherhood of Evil is after. So Raven is going to accompany them on a trip to drop them off at a drop-off point at a more safer location that the Brotherhood of Evil don't really know about like that. So okay, that's the plan. And a bus comes, drops off the heroes, and a big dust cloud happens. Raven, wipes it out of her face, but there's nobody there. She's like, what the heck? She feels a tugging at her cape as she looks down, and it's 3 little kids. And well, it's 2 kids and a baby. She's like, what? That is funny. So it's 2 kids and a baby. And these names are Melvin, the girl right there, Taylor the baby, and Timmy, the other boy with the little blankie. After that, we get the theme song, and the theme song is Japanese this week. So, okay. It's not really catching up, but it's not really getting too far away because English was at 7. Then we got a Japanese theme song, so now it's at 6. Then it was at 7 again. Now it's at 6 again. So we only have so many more episodes, so I don't know if it can catch up. I will be reviewing the lost episode of Teen Titans before I do the very last episode. So I don't know if there's a theme song in that, because it was a really short episode. It probably is. But I don't know. If there's a theme song, I'll count that. So hopefully it can catch up a bit closer than 6, but we'll never know. We'll never know. So after the theme song, we cut back over to Raven. Obviously, he calls up Robin again, but Beast Boy answers, and she goes, Beast Boy, put Robin on the phone. I can't. He's fighting a robot, I can't. What's the matter? Obviously, she's like, tell Robin I don't babysit. And that scene was so funny to me because Beast Boy looks to the side, and he, tells Robin, hey, Raven says he doesn't babysit. We don't hear Robin's response. We just see Beast Boy look to the side and just silence for 5 seconds, and then he says you have to. he goes, come on, can't Starfire do this? He likes kids, or Cyborg. Not out on other missions right now, so no, come on, you have to. And then the robot shoots at Beast Boy, and then the communicator goes fuzzy. And it's kind of funny because throughout the rest of the series, they all go on missions together. I mean, they might go on a mission together and they have to split up, but they never really been on solo missions one-on-one that I can remember from season 1 through 4, really. So this is really kind of cool to see all the other Titans get their solo episodes and doing stuff like this too. And whoever thought of this episode, this is when Raven got mad. Whoever thought of this episode of Raven taking care of a bunch of kids, genius. Come on, that is hilarious. We get so many funny scenes in here. So anyway, after that, Raven I'm gonna have to do this, so let's do this. So they start to walk towards the train station, and he holds Melvin's hand. Oh, no, sorry. At first he says, so you're the leader of this group. Melvin's like, well, I guess so. These 2 just keep following me around. So I don't know if they're related or not, and I never really heard of these characters before this, so they might be in the comics, they might not be, who knows. Anyway, she starts to hold the baby's hand and Melvin's hand, and Timmy starts to cry because nobody wants to hold his hand. She tells Melvin to hold his hand, but she says, I can't. I'm holding Bobby's hand. There's nobody there, so Raven's like, okay, well, I'm sorry, Timmy, you're going to have to hold the baby's hand. They eventually get on the train. When they get on the train, Raven says that this train ride is going to take 2 hours. This is ridiculous, but I mean, hey, it's just 2 hours sitting down on a train. It can't be too difficult. She looks at the kids and she goes, okay, well, you guys have powers, right? What can you do? Melvin goes, Bobby can dance. You want to see? No. Timmy starts to eat. Taylor starts to eat Timmy's blanket. Raven is mad because they both start to cry. And she yells at them to be quiet. And she goes, okay, let's play a game. Nobody bother Raven. She closes her eyes and says, Azarath, Methion, Zinthos. As soon as she opens them, they're gone. So she's like, you got to be kidding me. Here's what Raven looks like when she yells at the kids to be quiet. She looked like a Muppet. This episode was so funny. Oh my goodness. That Beast Boy thing, I'm telling you, I'm not even joking. I laughed at that for a minute. I rewinded that twice. It was just so funny. He was like, he says you have to. I tell you, it was because like it was no sound. That was probably why I laughed so hard. So like I said, the kids disappeared. So Raven has to go look for him. He finds Teether underneath a table, eating the table. So she grabs up the baby, puts her on the shoulder, keeps it moving. So he finds Timmy crying and acting like crazy on the ground and having a tantrum. A bunch of people looking like, wow, who kid is that? My kid would never. And eventually Raven finds Melvin in the way back of the train inside a cart with like nothing in it. Obviously Raven's like, what the heck are you doing? Why are you way back here? So he goes, Bobby was squished inside the car we were in. This one's a lot more bigger. Nobody in here but Melvin. She goes, okay, well, you can tell Bobby that he can get squished down. So let's go back. Timmy has to go use the bathroom. Uses the bathroom to keep walking back to the cart. But then the name's so similar. Timmy sees Mala through the window. He's like, Monkey Man. Raven like, Monkey Man. Mala. He busts through the car. She tells the kids to run. She's running with them. And they go through like 2 carts. And I was like, Raven, this match up should be pretty easy for you. Mala's just a big gorilla that can't have no power, that don't have any power. So you should be able to clap this guy up pretty easily. See, eventually he starts to use her powers. And he grabs the Sonic chairs, smacks him around, makes a giant fist, throws him through the cart. Like, she's boxing this guy up pretty easily. But at first he was running away. I was like, yo, Raven, come on. You got this. What are you doing? Eventually they run to the way back of the cart. And Raven puts on a hood. Whoa, that kind of got me. Raven puts on a hood and just looks at the door to get ready. And once he does this, she's standing there, right, waiting for Mala to come in. But then Mala comes out of nowhere and busts through the side. I'm like, what? There's nothing on the side of this train. You cannot get that much airtime with like nothing to run on. Like, how did you do this? Unless you got a jetpack, and he doesn't. He has like a little helicopter thing he used at the end of the episode, but other than that, there's no way he got this much airtime. I mean, look at this. Raven's standing there, waiting for Mala to come in, and he busts through the side. And when he does that, Raven passes out. Melvin freaks out, and she yells for Bobby to help him. And Bobby seems to be real because as soon as he yells that, something hits Mala, and he goes through like 3 carts. Like, he goes flying. Look at this. That man goes zooming, and then something connected. Well, the thing that connects the train, it breaks, so they're disconnected. All the kids are like yelling, like, "Yay, we won! Let's go! Woohoo! Yay, yay!" Raven gets back up, and she goes, "What do you mean we run? We are disconnected from the train, and we're stuck in the middle of nowhere. We did not win." And the kids have to cry again. So, not really a win-win, but I mean, hey, we got away from Mala, so that's good enough. Eventually, when they get outside of the train, Raven goes, "Okay, all we have to do is get over the mountain and get to the drop-off point, so I can just fly us there." Melvin's like, well, Bobby doesn't like flying. And Teether, he throws up when he flies. He'll be fine. They start to fly, but Teether, he starts to throw up. So, okay, I guess we're walking. But Timmy and Teether both want to get picked up. So Raven picks them both up. I guess I'm walking. And they keep walking. Eventually it comes to nighttime, and they have to go into like this random hut. Well, it's not like a little hut. It's like this little mini house in the middle of nowhere. Raven opens up the lock with her powers, puts all the kids down. She starts to make food for Teether, but he doesn't want to eat anything. She gets mad because she's like, what does this kid want to eat? Timmy, he starts to cry because he goes, Raven, look at my blankie. She goes, I see it. It looks pretty. He starts to cry again. What did I do? Why is this kid crying? And then eventually, Melvin starts to freak out because she goes, hey, Raven, you didn't feed Bobby yet. Well, Bobby can have my food. Tell him to eat it. Bobby's not inside. He's outside. He's too big for this house. Of course he is. So she takes the food, goes outside, puts it on the porch, says Bobby can eat it, and she calls out Robin, but Beast Boy answers again. And Beast Boy goes, oh, come on, Raven, this job is pretty easy. Think about it. They're kids. Kids are easy. All you have to do is make funny faces and tell jokes. Like, hey, get this one. Why did the cookie go to the doctor? Raven just looks at her screen, and Beast Boy goes, you gotta say why. Why? Because he was feeling crummy. Get it? He was feeling crummy, Raven. You get it? Closes the phone. She instantly closes the communicator. That was funny. And once he gets up to go back inside, the plate of food is gone. So she gets inside and she makes a really scary face at Timmy. Oh no, Teether, and he starts to cry even more. And she tells the joke to Timmy, and he starts to cry even more. Melvin comes over. She goes, you don't really babysit, do you? You can tell. What's the matter with these two? She goes, well, Timmy, Blanky is ripped, and Taylor, he has to burp. So she packs the baby. He burps. I thought she was gonna use her power to sticks up to Blanky. No, she just gets a staple it together, and she goes, here. He stops crying. And then all the kids start to sit on the bed, and Raven's like, what are you looking at? You need something? They go, well, you could tell us a bedtime story. Raven goes, okay, let's see. Once upon a time, about a year ago, my friends bought me a birthday cake and ice cream for my birthday. They go, wow, okay, like, this is a nice story. Then my dad, a demon lord, took over the world. There was fire and brimstone. There was a guy with a skeleton mask. He tried to kill me too. We had to fight demons off. Obviously, the kids start to freak out and start to cry. Raven's like, oh. And we beat them, and we all get happy cake and ice cream after. And they start to pass out because, well, I only they passed out because the story was so good. I think they passed out because they were freaked out. That was a pretty scary story for kids to hear. And they fall asleep. Next day, they walk over to a gondola, and they're going to get on the gondola to go up. Melvin says that Bobby says, this doesn't look too safe, but Raven goes, Bobby isn't real. Plus, this is fine. Obviously, Melvin gets mad because he goes, Bobby is real. Whatever, he can just squeeze in here. Let's go. They get inside the gondola. As soon as they get inside, the whole gondola tilts to the side. And Raven's like, yo, Melvin, what are you doing? She goes, it wasn't me. It was Bobby. I'm like, yeah, okay. I give Raven the benefit of the doubt, because when Bobby beat up Mala, she was like, Mala did just drop kick her. Robert did just drop kick her into oblivion, so she didn't really see that happen. So I'm like, okay, I'll give her that one. But the plate of food was gone when they went outside. So, I mean, you gotta say that. Plus, right here, the whole thing just tilted. Each little kid's weight did not combine to make the whole thing tilt. So, you gotta think something's up, right? So, anyway, they get on the gondola and it starts to go up. And eventually Mala comes up to try to fight them. Raven tells the kids to stay inside, but the baby holds on to her cape and gets flung up to like the middle part of the gondola while it's like going up the mountain. So Raven starts to fight Mala on the roof. And I don't know why, but Raven starts to fight Mala hand to hand at first, which makes no sense. Because, like, okay, Raven was able to, do a little something. Like, she was able to punch him, kick him. Like, she got some combat skills in her regular body. That's good. But this is a gigantic gorilla. Raven, use your powers. She eventually does use her powers and knocks him off of the gondola. And he goes flying. So he has to grab onto the wire and he has to climb back over to Raven. But I was like, yo, Raven, you should have done that from the beginning. You did not need to try to box him up with your hands. Because, Raven, you're not that, buff or strong. So you should probably just stick to your powers. Eventually, while Mala is crawling over to, climbing over to their gondola again, the wire that connects all the gondolas, it snaps. So Raven jumps back inside the gondola, inside the cart with the kids. It slides down the mountain, it hits a tree, and both of the kids, Timmy and Melvin, they're like, wow, that was amazing. Again. Raven goes, not again. That was ridiculous. And it made me think of, not Sid, Diego. From Ice Age. Remember the giant ice slide that went down? And then he was like, yo, who's up for round 2, baby? Yeah. And he was also protecting a baby there, too. So that was nice. Obviously, I don't think that was a direct comparison. That just made me think of it. So eventually, it becomes nighttime again. They start walking. I'm showing this scene because I really like it. Because Raven holding their hands. She looks really concerned for the kids when they're worried about, are they there yet? This was a really nice scene of Raven starting to really bond with these kids because they've been together for so long. And this scene right here, too. Just them walking together. So eventually, as you saw, they find the drop-off point. This giant castle with monks inside of it. Melvin says that Bobby says that this place doesn't look too safe. Raven's like, well, Bobby isn't real. So it doesn't really matter what he says. He is real. They start to argue, and Melvin says Bobby ran off because Raven was yelling. Melvin starts to run after Bobby, but Raven goes, look, Melvin, Bobby isn't real. This is you. That's your power. You can move stuff with your mind. You can't just blame it on your imaginary friend. He is real. You just can't see him because you're a big meanie. And once he said that, I was like, wow. That made me think of, I forgot his name, but in Danny Phantom, you can watch that show, in season 2, I think it was, there was this kid ghost that was a pirate, and only kids could see him. Adults couldn't see him. Danny could see him because he was like really childish and stuff. But other than that, only kids could see this ghost. So I'm like, oh, I guess it's like somewhat of the same thing. Like she has this monster thing that only she can see. She can control, quote unquote. Like they're friends. Like she's not controlling it, but they're friends. So that's her power, I'm guessing. So eventually, they Raven gives the kids to the monastery with the monks. So obviously, the monks like they'll be safe here. Teeler gives Raven his binky, and she starts to walk away. And she was with the kids so long, she knows exactly what their cries sound like. If we hear the kids start to cry, and Raven's like, "Huh, that's Teeler trying to take Timmy's blankie. Oh, you got it back now." And then the silence. She goes, "It's quiet. It's too quiet." Looks at the binky, busts into the monastery, flies through the courtyard, and then she sees Mala capture the kids on this gigantic like warthog thing from Halo, and he has the kids inside of these metal containers on top of the giant like tank thing he's driving, and the heads are poking out. So Raven gets mad and says, "Nobody touches my kids." I'm like, "Oh, is he really bonding with them?" And she starts to fly after him. So Raven does use her power to like uproot some rocks, but Mala's able to drive around them. He starts to shoot like dark beams. He starts to drive around them too. He starts to shoot lasers at Raven, rockets at Raven. Eventually, Mala drifts in front of Raven, and Raven shoots a gigantic. Well, it wasn't like gigantic, but she shoots a dark beam blast at Mala. Mala's tank truck thing is able to just drive right through it like nothing, which was really surprising to me. He hits Raven, and she goes flying, and she passes out on the ground. Eventually, we get to see what the powers are of all three kids. So, Timmy, he has a sonic scream like Black Canary. So that messes up Mala. He starts to like jerk the car around. And then Teether, I mean, it was kind of obvious. He has like a super mouth paws, he can eat anything. So he starts to eat the metal container that he's in and starts to shoot the metal pieces out of his mouth towards Mala's head. That makes him jerk the car even more. And then Bobby, he comes in and saves the kids and opens up the metal containers. And they go, "Hey, pick on someone your own size." And then Bobby starts to fight Mala. And we actually get to see Bobby. Obviously, he's been real this whole time. He's just been invisible. And Bobby is a gigantic teddy bear with spiky teeth. And he's pretty strong because he starts to dog walk Mala pretty easily. I mean, he starts to punch him, slam him. He even does the Broly move. He grabs Mala's leg and starts to slam him back and forth. Like, geez, Mala was getting demolished. Eventually, the kids walk over to Raven, put Blanky on her back. She sits up. She goes, "What? Bobby's real? Of course he is." Not Mala. What's her name? Melvin says that Bobby thought Raven was scary, so he didn't show himself to Raven. But now Raven's okay, so now he shows himself. Isn't that right, Bobby? And he just smiles. It's kind of weird because this whole time she was saying Bobby says, says so he can talk, but he isn't talking this instant, so I don't know. Anyway, Beast Boy calls Raven and was like, "Hey, are the kids?" Oh yeah, Mala, he flies away when the little helicopter thing he has on his back. He goes, "Man, forget it. I don't care. I don't even know why he wanted these kids. They're kids." Anyway, Beast Boy goes, "Oh, the kid is safe?" She goes, "Yeah, I did bring him to the drop-off point, but I gotta stay here. I gotta protect him." And Melvin's like, "Raven, it's okay. We're fine. You can leave us here. We don't need any protection from you anymore. Plus, we got Bobby. Your friends need you." She goes, "But I can't just leave you alone. You're my kids." She really bonded with them. This is so sweet. She goes, "Here." She pulls out her communicator. "If you ever need any help, anytime, call me, and I'll come." And I go, "Wow, thank you, Raven." And all the kids hug Raven. And that's the end of the episode. This was so sweet. It was such a sweet episode. Oh, that was sweet. Whoever thought of this episode is a genius. A genius, man. Raven taking care of kids. Whoever wrote this episode too was so funny. So funny. I love this episode. I'm so glad I watched this, man. This was such a good episode. I love this. We only have so many more episodes left. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 episodes. Technically 7, because like I said, I am going to review the last episode of Teen Titans. So we got 7 episodes left. Man, this really sucks. I'm really on the last season of Teen Titans. I really hope they renew it for a 6th season. Anything can happen, But, that's the end of this episode. So, like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you all later. Thank you all for watching. I think you'll all never be wonderful human beings, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. All right.